So I'm a few months behind, but I just finished Netflix's Elite, and I have one question. Is this the perfect teen soap opera? I'm Dan, and you're watching Doing OK's review of Elite Season 1. So I am a fan of teenage soap operas. I'm calling them that because, as opposed to like the more traditional coming of age stories, I'm thinking more The OC, maybe Dawson's Creek, that sort of thing, Gossip Girl. I've watched a good amount of these over the years, and I think that they are of varying qualities. And to me, a teen soap opera separates itself because it is purposely being a little stylized, purposely being over the top, and not necessarily being just the normal teenage experience. It's tying into that glamour and glitz thing, and it uses that in a way to talk about the normal teenage experience in a heightened way, while being more of an escapist thing. And I think Netflix's Elite definitely falls in that category, and I think especially you can see its connections to things like Gossip Girl and especially the OC. I think a lot of plot points from the OC are sort of dragged and dropped over here, along with certain things from How to Get Away with Murder, Big Little Lies. It's a sort of amalgamation of a lot of American television, and it's very interesting seeing this brought into this Spanish series, but one that is, brought on to Netflix. And I ended up watching it all dubbed, which probably isn't the intended way or the best way to watch the show, but I'm legally blind, so being able to easily follow along with subtitles isn't the best way for me to watch a show. It takes away from the experience for me. But I will say, yes, watching it dubbed definitely sorts of distance you from the characters a little bit. Not all of the dubbing is fantastic. Not all of the vocal performances of the dubbers are fantastic. That said, I think this is a show that you can definitely watch dubbed and get a positive experience out of. I think the majority of the performances vocally are able to match up with the visuals pretty well, and I definitely enjoyed this show. That said, I really don't watch a lot of foreign shows because of my vision, but this show got so much critical buzz that it eventually built up in me that I was like, this is probably a show I'd like. I should give it a shot. And it is very interesting how it has sort of learned from past teen soap operas. We have things that are definitely reminiscent of past things, but the fact that it's 8 episodes, it feels tight, it gets in and out in a way that is much more palatable. You're not just like dragging things out and, you have something come up and then you deal with it quickly. And I also think that the whole murder mystery part of this, the fact that you get your answer by the end of 8 episodes, that really feels nice. It's not like you're dragging it out. It's not like you're trying to make these ridiculous things happen. Also, it doesn't give you 20 episodes to easily figure out who the killer is and stuff like that. I did figure it out myself, but I still thought that the way they got there worked really well, and I think that it was a solid mystery. I think that the characters are interesting in the show. I think they did a great job of pitting the working class versus the rich class and sort of their tensions there. And I really enjoyed especially Nadia and Omar's individual storylines. I think this show did a really great job of portraying Islamophobia and the difficulties that come along with that. And it was just very interesting watching as an American, seeing the struggles that they go through and how sort of one-to-one relatable it is as far as American culture versus Spanish culture. I think that they did a really good job with Nadia because she was likable, but she was still flawed. You felt bad for her, but she still struggled with things like her brother being gay. She still struggled with slut shaming and stuff. And so that whole idea of her both sort of struggling under some oppression of both Islamophobia, but also her parents and her culture. But she was also part of that culture and part of some of the problems with that culture and the struggles to be able to accept other people. And so while she wasn't being totally accepted herself, she also wasn't totally accepting of her brother. And I think that the fact that they sort of had her have to grow and learn and evolve throughout the season was really great. And they really fleshed her out into a 3D character that I really enjoyed. And I think it was a standout character. I also think Omar's whole thing of being gay while being Muslim and dealing with his parents was great. And his whole relationship with Ander, I thought, was really interesting and really likable. I think that they did an interesting job with Marina, who is very reminiscent of characters like Marissa from the OC, but the fact that you know from the beginning that she's the one who dies, it paints her in a different light where it's like, oh, she's making some stupid choices. Maybe you don't agree with everything she's doing, but ultimately you know that she gets her comeuppance in a way that's way worse than she deserves. And so it kind of keeps you in this balance of like, oh, I'm annoyed with her, but I also can't be that annoyed with her. And also, she's self-destructive and she self-destructs by the end, as opposed to something like Marissa, who lasts for years before they fully self-destruct. Guzman was a fantastic character that started out so cookie cutter, and they did so much with him. He became one of my favorites for sure. Generally, I think they did a great job with mixing in, sexual intrigue, realistic, relatable stuff, crime stuff, all this stuff sort of interweaving into a very enjoyable package. That said, I don't know that it is my favorite teen soap, and I was trying to figure out why. I mean, there's certainly the part where it's like, it's a foreign thing, so I was disconnected from it as far as like the dubbing and everything. But I did feel sort of at arm's length with the characters in general, aside from maybe Nadia. I felt like they were so sort of out there and rich and crazy lives that it wasn't relatable or human enough at times. I also think that there was stuff that was interesting, like Polo and Carla's whole thing, and it wasn't something that I was really that invested in. And that generally, Samuel, our main character, never really clicked for me. He was like fine, but I never really connected with the character. And that, again, might be something to do with not having the direct performance of the actor fully without having his voice and everything. But I feel like there is definitely other shows, like The OC, like Dawson's Creek or Gossip Girl, or whatever, where I have connected more with the characters and felt more of a charisma or a connection with them. I also think that this show was, in some ways, detrimentally dark at times. There wasn't enough fun for me, where it's just like, yeah, it was interesting with all how dark everything was, but it lacked a little bit of the escapism fun, which I do think is in some ways crucial to this genre. Overall, though, I think it's a really cool show. I'm excited for season 2, and I really love how they left things at the end of season 1. I like that we know the killer, but the killer's still out there. I think that the way they left things with Nana was great. As far as intrigue for season 2, obviously not great for him. And I don't think the show is going to suffer without Marina. Unlike something like The OC, where they lost Marissa, and then it was like, well, the huge hole is missing now. This show has done a really good job of building a large cast of characters, giving them all their own feels, and I think they have a lot more room to grow in another season. So I'm excited to see what comes up next. Let me know what you guys thought. What were your favorite parts? What were your favorite characters? What do you think they could have done better? Is this your favorite teen soap? Do you have one that you liked better? I'm sure maybe we'll have some international people bring up stuff I don't even know about. And I'm sure I'm forgetting ones that I love too. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you're doing okay.